The Call of the Wild was written by Jack London. The novel begins with a description of Buck's pleasant life. He lives with his owner, named Judge Miller, in the Santa Clara Valley. Yet, trouble brewed for the innocent dog when miners struck gold up north. Buck, a muscular dog, was the type of dog that was in high demand from gold rushers. One day, Buck was taking a stroll through an orchard near his home when strangers dog-nabbed him. He had learned to trust men who knew more than him, but this time, the human's intentions were sinister. The next thing he knew, he was beaten and thrown into a train car headed for Seattle. For 2 days and nights, his captors starved Buck and deprived him of water. When he's taken out of his cage, he rages at his handler. Unfortunately, Buck's handler, clothed in a red sweater, is armed with a club and beats the poor dog. This is how Buck first comes to understand primitive law. After his handler beats him, the handler gives Buck food and water. Then, the handler sells him off to an official named Perot, working with the Canadian government. In the next chapter, Buck reaches the hellish Daya Beach. The dogs and men here are absolute savages. Buck sees Curly, a dog who got shipped with him, get killed by other vicious dogs. It shocks him, and this is his first lesson in the law of club and fang. Francois works with Perot and puts Buck to work. The first job is hauling firewood. As a sled dog, Buck learns fast. Then, when they return to Daya Beach, Perot has bought another dog. This dog is named Solex, and he only has one eye. That night, Buck has to sleep outside in the cold winter air. Dave, another dog, teaches him to dig a hole to sleep in so that he'll keep warm. Buck regresses into more of a wolf than a dog. He steals out of necessity and howls to the moon. The third chapter begins with a description of the rivalry between Spitz and Buck. Spitz bullies Buck, who he sees as a threat to his leadership. Then, the sled team makes camp on Lake LaBarge. The location was awful, with few places to hide from the elements. Thankfully, Buck found an overhang, which he left to go get his rations at dinner time. When Buck comes back, he finds Spitz laying there and snarling to defend the spot. Their disagreement devolves into a full-blown battle, but the entire team comes under attack by a pack of wild huskies. The huskies devour every piece of food they could get their teeth on. They even ate moccasins and pieces of Francois's whip. The huskies leave after a vicious fight. Every one of the sled dogs were wounded in the fight. Joe even lost an eye. From then on, there is total dishevel in the team. Buck tries to upend Spitz's leadership. A death match comes when the entire team, as well as 40 police huskies, are chasing after a rabbit. Spitz outthinks Buck and gets ahead of the rabbit, catching it. Buck immediately attacks him and beats him in battle. With multiple broken legs, the blood-hungry huskies kill the defeated Spitz. Buck thinks he's finally won the right to be the leader of the sled team. Yet Francois and Perot think that Solex would be the better sled team leader and try to put him at the front. Unfortunately for them, Buck won't give up. Buck pushes Solex out of the way. Francois removes Buck again and puts Solex into the lead harness. Except now, Buck won't accept going into the subservient position of the sled team. Francois even drops the club he carries to show Buck he means peace. Instead of giving up, Buck backs up. This makes it impossible to head out on their journey. They've already lost an hour of time when Francois and Perot relent. They remove Solex and put Buck in as the leader. Buck proves to be an excellent leader of the team. He thinks and acts quickly. He also whips all the members of the team into shape. Even Pike, the laziest of them all, completely turns his behavior around. Instead of acting lazy, he puts all his effort into pulling the sled. The dogs go through a very difficult period of sledding. Francois and Perot push them to their max. Eventually, Dave starts to fumble. He's in so much pain that he's allowed to run alongside the sled and just keep pace. Yet Dave refuses. Dave wants to stay in his place, even though it's killing him. Dave is sadly put out of his painful misery, and the team goes on. When they reached Skagway, they were expecting a long rest. Except there was no time. The Canadian government wanted the mail delivered immediately. New dogs were to be bought and quickly replace Buck and his team. This is how Hal, Charles, and Mercedes bought the sled team. These three were utter amateurs. They overpacked their sled, overfed the dogs, did not know how to pack, and bickered. They stop at John Thornton's camp, who can't stand to watch Hal beat Buck. Thornton takes Buck by force. Hal, Charles, and Mercedes then continue onto a lake that Thornton told them not to go on, as the ice was weak. The ice breaks, and the three die with their dogs. Thornton and his dogs bring Buck back to life. Buck grows to love Thornton, but he also feels the strong call of the wild. Buck would do anything for Thornton, and even tries to jump off of a cliff after Thornton gave the command. Buck wins a $1,600 wager after he drags a 1,000-pound sled 100 yards. This wager allows John Thornton and his friends to go east and look for long-lost treasure. Here, Buck continues to explore his wildness. Then, when a Yeehat raiding party murders Thornton and his friends, Buck goes into a rage. Buck kills many Yeehats and forces them to retreat. From then on, the Yeehats tell of a wolf bigger than any wolf they've seen, leading a large pack. The end.